There is a moment, usually late at night, when a man finally sees his own face reflected back at him, not in a mirror, but in silence. No noise, no validation, just the quiet hum of existence pressing gently against his awareness. And in that stillness, a truth surfaces with unsettling clarity. Power does not announce its arrival. It doesn't shout. It doesn't posture. It doesn't rush to be seen. It waits. It observes. It consolidates itself patiently until it no longer needs permission to exist. The face, in that moment, becomes a canvas of the soul. Every line tells a story of restraint. Every unmoving expression carries the weight of discipline, solitude, and decisions made when no one was watching and no reward was guaranteed. This is where real influence lives, not in dominance over others, but in mastery over self, not in controlling rooms, but in stabilizing the inner world so completely that chaos loses its grip. The world, however, has been conditioned to confuse strength with noise, aggression, spectacle, and performance. Yet the most formidable forces in existence move in silence. Gravity never boasts, yet nothing escapes it. Time never threatens, yet everything submits to it. The Sigma male, when understood correctly, is not a predator, lurking in shadows, nor a rebel desperate to be misunderstood. He is the shadow itself, calm, observant, unreactive, immovable. He does not chase attention because his aura draws it naturally. He does not seek applause because his actions resonate long after words fade. He moves like a ghost through crowded spaces, noticed, felt, sensed, but never fully deciphered. People register him before they hear him. There is something about his stillness that unsettles the insecure and calms the intuitive at the same time. He is not trying to impress. He is refining. What separates him from the masses is not rebellion against society, but transcendence of its noise. He has learned what most never will. When you are centered, when your emotions are governed rather than suppressed, when your intentions are clean and precise, your presence itself becomes a masterpiece, effortless, balanced, complete. And this is where the misconception finally collapses. Because the Sigma male is not an aggressor. He is something older, something disciplined, something noble, something almost angelic. Not loud angels, not theatrical symbols of chaos and fire, but earth angels, walking reminders that calm is strength, restraint is power, silence is influence, and true authority never needs to explain itself. Let's break them down. Number one, the silent origin of the earth angel archetype. There is a misunderstood stillness at the beginning of every great transformation, not the stillness of absence, withdrawal, or defeat, but the stillness of awareness, the moment when a man stops reacting and starts observing himself with clarity. This is where the Sigma male's story truly begins, not in rebellion against the world, not in bitterness or rejection of society, but in the quiet internal decision to govern himself, rather than be governed by impulses, noise, expectations, or the hunger for external validation. Long before modern labels diluted and commercialized the idea, history recognized this man under different names: philosopher king, monk warrior, and stoic guardian. Marcus Aurelius did not write meditations to impress an audience. He wrote to discipline his own mind, to remind himself daily that power without self-command is unstable, and authority without inner order collapses under pressure. He understood a truth psychology now confirms. The man who cannot regulate his inner world will eventually sabotage his outer one. The earth angel archetype is born at the precise moment a man realizes that his emotions are neither enemies to suppress nor tyrants to obey, but raw forces to refine through awareness, discipline, and meaning. Emotional regulation theory describes this clearly. The ability to pause between stimulus and response is not weakness, it is freedom. And freedom, when it is internal rather than performative, radiates outward as calm authority. This is why the Sigma male's presence often feels grounding without him saying a word. He does not inject chaos into rooms. He absorbs it, stabilizes it, and quietly neutralizes it through his regulated nervous system. His aura is not an act, not a mask, not a performance for approval. It is the natural byproduct of alignment, where thought, emotion, and action move as one coherent force. He does not need to assert dominance because his body is not in survival mode. Others sense this unconsciously, which is why conversations slow when he speaks, why people feel heard around him without understanding how, and why tension dissipates rather than escalates. The Earth Angel does not compete for space. Space opens around him. He does not chase attention. Attention settles naturally in his orbit. He is not impressive because he tries to be seen. He is impressive because he is integrated. And integration, in a fragmented world addicted to noise, is rare. Number 2, cinematic composure and the psychology of the unreadable man. Cinema has always been fascinated by men who say little and reveal less, but the popular imagination often misreads this restraint as danger instead of discipline. When characters like Thomas Shelby or Patrick Bateman are examined through a psychological lens rather than a sensational one, what stands out is not their capacity for violence, but their mastery of self-regulation. The camera lingers on their eyes, not because they are empty, but because they are contained. The eyes betray nothing because there is nothing leaking. This unreadability is not emotional absence. It is emotional order. Modern psychology refers to this as affect regulation, paired with cognitive restraint, the ability to experience emotion without broadcasting it, to feel without spilling. The Sigma male understands a principle most men never learn. Reactions are data, and data is power. Every unnecessary explanation, every defensive gesture, and every rushed justification is a disclosure. In high-pressure moments, the average man scrambles to regain control by talking, by filling silence, by proving something. The Earth Angel does the opposite. He pauses, he breathes, he allows the moment to unfold without interference. In that pause, something subtle but powerful happens. Silence becomes diagnostic. People begin to reveal themselves because they are uncomfortable with stillness. They project, over-explain, confess, or escalate. He simply observes. This is why his eye contact feels heavy, yet not aggressive. It is grounded, not confrontational. He is fully present, not rehearsing responses, not managing anxiety, and not fighting internal noise. There is a quiet coherence inside him, and coherence creates gravity. Human beings are instinctively drawn to those who appear internally settled, because the nervous system recognizes it as safety. From an evolutionary perspective, calm signals stability, and stability signals leadership. Loud dominance creates fear. Quiet dominance creates trust. This is why true leadership, when unforced, feels almost sacred rather than threatening. The Sigma male is not attempting to intimidate, and that is precisely why his presence carries weight. He's not performing power, he's conserving it. Cinema does not invent this archetype, it mirrors it. Filmmakers intuitively understand something primal about the human psyche. Motion draws the eye, but stillness commands the room. In a world addicted to noise, the man who does not rush to react becomes the axis around which everything else moves. Number 3, aura as coherence, not charisma. Aura is often mistaken for charm, confidence, or charisma, but those are merely surface effects that come and go depending on mood, context, or performance. Aura, in its truest and most powerful form, is coherence. It is what emerges when a man's inner world stops arguing with itself, when his thoughts, values, emotions, and actions are no longer pulling in different directions. Something subtle but undeniable begins to radiate from him. Neuroscience helps explain this phenomenon in practical terms. A regulated nervous system improves heart rate variability, softens facial microexpressions, steadies eye contact, and stabilizes vocal tone. These are not things people consciously analyze, yet the human brain is exquisitely tuned to detect them. Others feel the difference before they can name it. This is why presence can feel calming without a single word being spoken. The Sigma male's aura is not something he switches on when he enters a room. It is what remains when inner conflict has been resolved. He knows who he is, what he stands for, and more importantly, what he refuses to trade away for validation, approval, or temporary comfort. This clarity removes urgency from his movements. There is no desperation in his timing. He does not rush conversations to prove value, and he does not chase outcomes to soothe insecurity. He allows moments to unfold while remaining grounded enough to respond deliberately rather than react emotionally. Because of this, his presence feels expansive rather than invasive. People do not feel watched, judged, or analyzed around him. They feel settled, as if the nervous system has been given permission to stand down. This is what can be described as the earth angel effect. He brings order without instruction, stability without dominance, and calm without commentary. He does not need to announce boundaries because he lives them consistently. Over time, his life becomes a masterpiece, not because it is perfect or dramatic, but because it is intentional. Each choice aligns with his values. Each boundary is honored without resentment. Each action reflects inner agreement. And eventually this alignment becomes visible to others, not through noise, display, or performance, but in a quiet, unmistakable way that cannot be faked, taught, or taken away. Number 4, the ghost principle and the discipline of selective visibility. The Sigma male is often described as a ghost, not because he disappears, but because he refuses to overexpose himself. In a culture addicted to constant broadcasting, restraint becomes mysterious, almost unsettling. The Earth Angel understands this intuitively. Not every thought needs expression. Not every emotion requires an audience. And not every goal benefits from announcement. This is not secrecy born of fear or insecurity, but privacy born of wisdom and self-respect. Psychological research consistently shows that excessive self-disclosure weakens identity coherence. When a man explains himself constantly, narrates every move, and seeks validation through exposure, he fragments his sense of self and hands his inner authority to external opinion. The Sigma male does the opposite. He protects his inner life with intention. He moves deliberately rather than impulsively. He shares selectively rather than reflexively. This restraint creates depth, and depth creates gravity. When he speaks, it carries weight because it is not diluted by noise. When he commits, it is felt because it is rare and intentional. His ghost-like quality is simply the natural result of well-defined boundaries. He is present without being consumed by the room, engaged without being absorbed by chaos, and calm without being passive. This makes his attention valuable. People notice when he withdraws, not because he seeks absence, but because his presence altered the atmosphere when it was there. Silence again becomes currency. The Earth Angel aspect understands that energy leaks through unnecessary explanation. Every word costs something. Every emotional reaction reveals leverage. The Sigma male conserves both. He does not rush to correct misunderstandings, because clarity over time is more powerful than defense in the moment. He does not chase perception, because truth settles on its own when behavior remains consistent. This composure unsettles insecure environments that thrive on reaction and oversharing. His restraint forces others to project, and in that projection they reveal more about themselves than he ever could say. This is quiet power, not dominance through control, but influence through steadiness. In a world loud with self-promotion and emotional excess, the man who governs himself appears almost invisible until his absence is felt. His words land deeper, and his stillness reshapes the room. Number 5, governing the shadow rather than fearing it. Every man carries a shadow, the raw capacity for aggression, dominance, and destruction that exists beneath the surface of civility. And the earth angel is not the man who pretends this shadow does not exist, but the man who has stared directly into it and refused to surrender his throne to it. Carl Jung warned that what is left unintegrated does not vanish. It finds expression through sabotage, projection, emotional volatility, and unconscious self-destruction. The Sigma male understands this truth intuitively. He does not suppress his darker impulses, nor does he glorify them. He integrates them through discipline, awareness, and deliberate self-governance. Anger is not denied. It is refined into boundaries that cannot be crossed. Aggression is not acted out. It is converted into endurance, patience, and quiet resilience. Pain is not escaped. It becomes perception, an internal radar that sharpens discernment and emotional intelligence. This is emotional alchemy in its highest form. Instead of moralizing his darkness or labeling it as evil, the Sigma male studies it, tempers it, and places it under conscious command. This is what makes him safe, not weak. A man without access to his shadow is fragile, easily provoked, easily manipulated, and unconsciously dangerous. A man who has mastered it becomes grounded, predictable to himself, and unshakable under pressure. Controlled power is the highest form of strength because it does not need to announce itself. This is why the Sigma male rarely escalates conflict. He knows escalation requires no skill. Anyone can react. Restraint, however, demands mastery. His shadow does not leak out as passive aggression, bitterness, or resentment. It is stored, understood, and accessed only when the situation genuinely requires force, decisiveness, or unyielding resolve. This internal governance creates psychological solidity, a sense of inner weight that others feel immediately. People sense that this man cannot be baited, rushed, or emotionally hijacked. They recognize, often without understanding why, that their usual tactics will not work here, and that silent recognition alone alters power dynamics before a single word is spoken. Number 6, the quiet legacy of the Earth Angel. The final truth of the Sigma male archetype is this: his impact is rarely immediate, but always lasting. He does not leave impressions. He leaves imprints, subtle marks on the nervous system of the world around him. People remember how they felt in his presence long after the conversation ends, long after circumstances change, long after names fade. Not because he dazzled them with charisma or overwhelmed them with opinions, but because he steadied them. His presence regulates chaos. His energy slows the room. His composure quietly gives others permission to breathe again. His life teaches without preaching, because his alignment makes instruction unnecessary. His discipline influences without instruction, because people sense that what he carries cannot be faked or borrowed. In a world saturated with noise, urgency, and performative confidence, he becomes a reference point for calm. Not passive calm, but grounded calm, the kind that comes from self-command rather than avoidance. His legacy is not built on dominance, controversy, or performance. It is built on consistency, the rarest currency of all. Emotional resilience forged through self-observation. Ethical clarity sharpened by restraint. Internal order maintained regardless of external disorder. This is why the Earth Angel archetype feels ancient and modern at the same time. It echoes old wisdom while solving modern psychological hunger. In unstable times, people do not crave louder leaders, they crave steadier ones. The Sigma male answers that hunger not with promises, but with posture. He does not need to be followed to lead because his orientation is inward, and that inward order radiates outward naturally. He does not need to be loud to be influential, because influence is not volume. It is gravity. His presence is enough. His silence speaks because it is not empty, it is contained. His calm restores balance because it is earned, not performed. And when you understand this, the entire narrative shifts. Sigma males are not outsiders by nature. They are positioned differently by design. They stand slightly apart, not to reject society, but to stabilize it. They are guardians of internal order in a disordered world, living reminders that mastery begins within. They do not chase validation because they are rooted in coherence. They do not compete for attention because their depth outlasts attention cycles. They do not conquer others because they have conquered fragmentation inside themselves. Quiet reminders that the highest form of masculinity is not conquest, but coherence, not domination, but mastery, not noise, but depth.